Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and these are my first impressions of Battlefield Hardline, if anyone cares enough to hear them. I've joined and played a few rounds in a row now and I've gotten a face full of fun and quick action with a couple new weapons and game modes, but having said that, don't expect Hardline to be a completely different game from Battlefield 4, as I'm sure you played the beta last summer, and so you know kind of what to expect from Hardline. And as it stands, it could even be called, I think, an expansion pack for the game, for Battlefield 4. An expansion pack with a AAA title price tag, Now, obviously, there have been quite a few Battlefield Hardline videos out already in the previous days, but those mainly came from big YouTubers like, Jack Frags and Level Cap, who get invited to internal EA events and play on their LAN, which incidentally is probably a bad indicator of how the game will work in the real world, but whatever. So finally us mortals get to play the beta, and play it I did. I will now rattle off in no particular order the things that I've noticed right off the bat. Some things I might forget or miss, as there's a ton of small and not so subtle changes to the gameplay, and some you might completely disagree with as I put them forth to you. So here we go, in no particular order. The motorcycles are a little bouncy. The third-person camera must be dampened, I think, as in given the delay on the bounce, as it will make some people carsick, me especially. On the plus side, the instruments work on the bike like in Battlefield 4 on the snowmobile. This is the Frostbite 3 for you flexing its muscles. The radio that plays in every car, even cop cars, is fun but can be turned off, thankfully, for those of us that do not want strikes on our channels. The dust storm is back as the revolution on Dust Bowl, and honestly I do not know how to feel about this one. Let's mention first that I am one of those people that hate the dust storm on Oman, so I'm not a fan of this one either. I think Revolution needs to be less scripted and more destruction oriented, like in Battlefield Bad Company 2, where you could take apart whole walls, even buildings, with grenade launchers and rockets and such. On Dust Bowl, even on the Frostbite 3 engine, you're out of luck. I actually played with Tigger and some other devs in a Battlefield 4 CTE round where I asked about the, crappy revolution on Oman, and he told me that, if you watch that video, that they actually considered a switch for the server admin so he could choose to turn the revolution completely off for the server. They never implemented it, and I'm not holding my breath that it will happen in Battlefield 4, but I really hope to see something like this in Hardline. I mean, you take a look at the Oman map on any Conquest Large Battlefield 4 server, and as soon as the map comes up in the rotation, people leave, including myself, because it just doesn't look good. It messes with your vision, which it does incidentally in Hardline, very much so, and just drops your frame rate to something awful. And incidentally, that's one of the reasons there's so little destruction, I think, on Dust Bowl. I think the Visceral guys just saw that the storm acted weird, when inside the buildings, so they made the buildings indestructible, so you can't, take the walls out. But enough about that. So Hotwire is a hoot and a half to play. Very fun, if nothing else. You must hotwire a capture point or a mobile point, which in this case is a fuel truck or a van or something like that, and keep it driving above a certain speed to maintain points. You can get shot out of it or blown up pretty easily, so strategic driving here is a must. Unfortunately, I noticed that the truck seems to hit or snag rather on things it shouldn't, which makes driving not fun unless on completely clear roads. It will snag and come to a complete stop on exactly the same small stuff like in Battlefield 4, where you remember the LAVs got constantly stuck on rocks and sidewalks and small walls and so on, and especially that they're indestructible on Dust Bowl. Things can get pretty hairy. That needs to be looked at, definitely, in my opinion. But as I said, strategic driving, guys, backup vans and cruisers is a pretty good idea, as driving alone will get you killed pretty quick. I saw a bunch of convoys today with no small amount of satisfaction, I might add. They call out like Popo or showing the middle finger as the gangsters, instead of spotting, show the cops as it's a nice touch, I think, of the guys saying, "Yeah, I got you, sucker." Not, it's all a bunch of nice stuff, I think. Not since Battlefield 3 did I enjoy this much the callouts and the voiceovers. In Battlefield 4, in fact, I think the callouts pretty much suck. So, in this one, they took a turn for the better, I think. They just need to decrease the amount of them and the frequency a bit. Sounds in particular, the helicopter machine guns, they kind of suck, and I expected a lot more from the Frostbite 3 game. At least I would think that they suck. I don't know, maybe I had my speakers configured wrong. The guns seem to have a ton of recoil, but this is balanced pretty well because they finally seem to have gotten completely rid of the visual recoil in Battlefield Hardline. And if you don't know what visual recoil is, it's just basically the reticle jumping around the screen regardless of the actual gun recoil in the game, and making it difficult and quite annoying to play with, because you're kind of trying to compensate for the visual recoil, and that not being realistic, you're deliberately and unwittingly aiming off target. So it becomes very, very annoying, and it's good that Visceral finally got rid of it. The new money system instead of points is an interesting one. Here you earn money instead of points, obviously, like you saw in previous Battlefield Hardline videos, unlike in previous Battlefield games, and you can spend them however you wish. So, you can save up for very last unlock or just buy everything in your path and spend the money as you accumulate it. And obviously you get money by doing gameplay stuff like capturing points and getting certain bonuses and things like that. Vehicles can have a perk equipped where the trunk will open for you and have a pickup launcher or an MG inside. So, that's kind of nice. Also, any class can pick up and use the medkits or paddles in the field from a pack on the wall, which comes in quite nicely in Heist, because it's, such a tight gameplay oriented, infantry oriented game mode. But these things are disposable in that they will be thrown down to the ground once you switch weapons to your primary or secondary or anything like that. Also, you can pick up the grappling hooks and such in the field no matter what class you are too. The blue flames you might have wondered about, well, those are just friendly Molotov, and while extremely unrealistic, it's kind of there to show you that, you know, you can indeed walk on them as it was thrown down by a teammate. In Heist, the actual crooks have an actual drill animation that bores into the safe. And after the safe has been cracked, each team tries to make off with the loot and bring it to their safe drop-off point. Overall, the game is bags of fun, I think, and the only things disappointing to me are the lack of levolution in places and some driving mechanics that need to be tweaked a bit. But, you know, I had oodles of fun with the Swedish K, which has a ton of damage coming out of it. It just puts down a ton of damage. The rate of fire kind of sucks, sort of similar to the UMP-45, but the damage it puts down is just phenomenal. Shotguns are now useful for a change. In fact, Uber cannons, I won't say OP because they do exactly what they were designed to do, which is one-shot kill at close range, but they're quite good now, which they were definitely most decidedly not in Battlefield 4. The kill cards are a lot better than the non-existent ones in Battlefield 4. When you get killed, you have a very obvious card showing you who shot you and where, which part of the body, and how much damage he did. So, you know, you're not left wondering how that happened. The menus and the loadout screens are much easier to navigate now than they were in the previous beta last summer. Another thing that struck me from the game was, you know, the brutality, the sheer brutality animation that happens when you take someone down, especially with the pickaxe. I think, you know, hammers like that, you just swing that thing and then kick the other guy a few times and punch him, and it's just a lot of fun to do. And also, you might have noticed that as far as the sites go, gone is the all-popular Coyote site, Red Dot site, because it was pretty much OP in Battlefield 4, and so I think, you know, they didn't include it in this game because it opened up the screen, so much of the screen, and allowed you to aim so well. Another very welcome feature of Hardline is that not only can you pick up ammo and medkits from the boxes on the walls, but you can also come up to your teammates and press E to directly take some ammo or, you know, health back from them right on the go. And by the way, those ammo boxes that are on the walls will only resupply your main weapon, so not like grenades or launchers or anything of that nature. And finally, the grappling hooks are supremely useful from what I found out for the professional class, aka the recon. You find, you know, an inaccessible roof, fire at it, climb onto the roof, and just pitch a tent, and, you know, stay there all day just sniping. I didn't see, unfortunately, an option for decreasing the mouse sensitivity for different scopes like they have in CTE now, and that's kind of disappointing because I had to decrease my mouse sensitivity for, you know, shooting over distances, and I didn't hit a lot of targets, but I hope they implement that feature in the game later on. So, thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one, and remember, in Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.